Okay, well, we are live now. So for you guys tuning into the stream, whether you're listening or whether you're watching, this is a great one. If you're looking to lose weight and get fit and do that sustainably, we're going to interview Peter and get a lot of insights in his journey, because Peter has done that plus some over the past, I don't know, how long have we known each other? Peter's been at least 5 years.
A good while. It's been a good while, man.
I think it's maybe at least 5, maybe even 7. I can't remember the year that we met.
But they look back on Facebook.
Yeah, but when I first met Peter, like, he was not a small man, to say the least. And we have become good friends, but it's like we don't hang out like together frequently. So like whenever we have caught up for coffee or a catch up with Peter and Peter's brother Paul, I was in the military with Paul. Peter's always looked different. So it's like, you know, each time I've seen you, I'm like, man, you're fucking looking great, man. Like, and it's you can see the weight's always been coming down. You've been looking leaner. You've been looking stronger. And it's been really inspirational to watch. Now, obviously, you become a personal trainer. So we're going to dive into this stuff and learn a lot from Peter. He's got a lot of great things to share, because I know he's made a lot of mistakes as well. Like, he's fell for a lot of fad diets and tons of them that we want a lot of people to be able to avoid those kind of mistakes. So we'll talk about that too. But before we do that, wherever you're watching this, if you're watching on YouTube, please, massively appreciate if you can subscribe to the channel, because we've got more of this stuff coming on a weekly and monthly basis to help you out with your health, fitness goals. If you're watching it on Facebook, if you haven't already, like and follow the page, and massively appreciate that as well. So let's get stuck in. Peter, can you quickly just tell the people who are watching or listening, like, a little bit of background? Who are you? Where you from? What age are you? And how much weight you've lost?
Aye, that was quite a lot to unpack there. I am Peter. I won't bother with my surname because it's just too complicated. But I've been on this kind of weight loss journey for a good while now. Probably 2014 is when my kind of breakthrough moment was. But even before then, I was always kind of up and down in weight. But I would say 2014 is when everything kind of changed, and that's when I started making real progress. And then,
sorry, Peter. See, just before we lose the train of thought there. So obviously 2014 is when you started taking the weight loss serious and making, you've made results since that point. Mm-hmm. So had you always been overweight or struggled with your weight, or did you used to be skinny? Like, story?
It's kind of up and down. Like, I was into boxing, MMA, all like kind of sporty, but never like super skinny or anything. Like, I've never been the skinny kid or anything like that. I always kind of carrying a bit of timber. But all the kind of sport and stuff helped, and I did get down to quite a decent size, quite a decent weight, in good shape, but did it kind of all the wrong way. Really unsustainable, really extreme, aggressive approach, and it just never stuck. It just never stayed. And then I just ballooned back up again. But then obviously after that kind of 2014 incident, or not incident, but moment, that's when I started taking the kind of sensible approach, the more sustainable approach.
So when you say that the kind of the moment that sparked the sustainable weight loss, what happened there? What was the trigger?
So to be fair, there's a few wee kind of moments. It's just a kind of ongoing process. When you are quite overweight, you're just always kind of feeling self-conscious, always kind of checking yourself and looking at yourself, and just feeling like shit in general. But the kind of breakthrough moment was when I was on holiday with Paul, who we spoke about, and we did this kind of photo shoot thing where it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever been through, I think. I still cringe and go red when I kind of think about it now. But it was when I got back for that holiday and I was looking at the photos and I just seen myself and I thought, this is ridiculous. Look at the size of you. You're fucking huge. Apologies for swear. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear.
You can swear on my
um,
platforms, mate.
but
So there's not,
but
I
I,
don't think there's any snowflakes around here.
it was just looking back at those photos and looking and seeing my face was just so bloated, so round. My t-shirt, it wasn't a tight fitting t-shirt by any means. It was just tight on me because I was just so big. And just I could just see how uncomfortable I looked. I could see how self-conscious and how in my face I was just hating every second of that. And that's what kind of sparked that change. I was like, I don't want to be in that scenario again where I feel so uncomfortable getting my picture took or just feeling that way in general, because that obviously wasn't the first time I'd ever felt like that. Like, it'd been obviously ongoing. That was just the kind of breaking point, as if you will. That was the kind of moment I was like, right, need to change that.
Yeah, I think that highlights quite an important point, because obviously you had quite a physical, active lifestyle from an early age when you were into sports. I know you've been through things like some MMA and had periods doing those kind of things, and different types of martial arts. It highlights the importance of nutrition and what's going on in our mouths. Even more so, I think I still come across so many people who are in the mindset of like we need to lose a bit of weight. Like they feel like they need to do more exercise, and of course that's important. That's for so many parts of it. But it's always right if I'm not losing, I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more. But and they're ignoring the almost self-destructive eating and drinking habits and stuff that can hold them back. I mean, we'll get into some of that stuff in a minute as well. But I'd also like to go back to the time, because we spoke before and you've mentioned about when you were first trying to pursue a career to become a fitness coach, personal trainer, instructor. You had some roadblocks in relevance to your fitness then. So can you tell us that story, mate?
Aye, of course. So do you know what? I can't even remember the date. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by my cat who's bringing another cat into the house. This is perfect timing. Aye, sorry, I can't remember the exact date, but I was working in Lidl at the time, so I wasn't really enjoying my life as such. I was just kind of just going through the motions. But and I could see Paul was kind of pursuing the fitness stuff, the personal training stuff, and I quite liked it, because I used to go to the gym. I did all the kind of boxing, MMA, all that stuff. So I liked fitness, like I was into it. I just struggled with the whole consistency and nutrition type of thing. I was always kind of on or off. But as I was kind of working in Lido, I thought, right, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to just kind of go through working shitty jobs and not really enjoying it. So I thought, right, I'm going to get myself fit. I'm going to do a course. I'm going to go back to college, because I did do like a fitness course in college before, but I dropped out. We don't need to get into that. But I dropped out, and I thought, right, I did enough where I could probably go back and catch up and finish it, and then potentially even go on to uni or whatever. But when I applied to go, I tried to go back to the same college. I went back, I had an interview, that was all good. And then I did like a kind of practical assessment, which was more obviously physical. It was like classes and stuff. They were making us do all this kind of fitnessy stuff. And then I got rejected because I wasn't fit enough. Like, the woman said, you're not there. The standard isn't there. You're not fit enough to do this class. How are you going to do this? How are you going to teach someone to do this if you can't really make it through? So that was a real kick in the nuts. I remember actually I was on my till when I was working in Lidl, and I pulled out my phone and I just seen the kind of, now sometimes you see like the preview text of an email or something like that, and I just seen it from who the college, it was from whatever the lecturer's name, college. So I said, right, I said to my boss, can I go on a quick break just now? And I went outside and I opened it and I just seen the word unsuccessful. And I was like, I was just devastated because I had to go back and stand on a till for another 6 hours, and it was just rattling through my brain. And I was like, But that wasn't to be. Ended up, I just went and did like a fitness course, a personal trainer course. I just paid for it. Those kind of, I think it was an online one, but you had to go and do obviously the practical stuff. So I did that, completed that, and started doing boot camps with Paul. We were doing outdoor boot camps. That's when we first kind of started together. Was doing that stuff.
I remember.
But we obviously used to meet up and do a week and a meeting every week and try and plan what we we're going to achieve and stuff. And then obviously we moved, as you know, we started doing classes. It's like small group stuff in our mate's gym. And then eventually we opened up our own gym, a wee private gym just down the road from where we grew up. And now we moved online after that.
Yeah, Joe, I like the fact that you experienced that rejection from the college course, but
heartbreaking.
But I think sometimes we need that in order to really fuel us emotionally, mentally, in order to achieve a goal. Because otherwise, if we never experience some failures in some way or form, sometimes it's just hard to get that fire in the belly. But I think it's a big mistake where a lot of people feel that rejection, and then it's like they'll shy away from the ambition and the goal. But it's important to bottle that up and use it as a little bit more fuel. So I mean, here's another great example. Like most of the guys that I coach, majority when they first start out can't do pull-ups. Some can't do 10 full press-ups. Because they've been out of fitness that long and they're carrying extra weight. Bodyweight exercises are really, really difficult. And it's like, right, because we have some assessments and tests in the program. It's like, okay, they can't do that. But the last time they tried, they can remember being able to do loads because they were a lot younger. It's like, okay, so it's very humbling. It's a little bit embarrassing within themselves, but it's like, okay, let's use that as extra reason to get fitter, to lose the body fat, to lose weight, to start feeling better about ourselves, and using all these things as little benchmarks. But I find it quite inspirational that you've done that after getting the no. But going down, you found your own way anyway.
Aye. Do you know what? It's funny because when I think back, when I think back to it now, I don't remember thinking, "Oh, I'm going to show you," or like that kind of mindset. I was just like, that's really annoying because I really wanted to do it, but then I just found another route. It wasn't the only way and that's kind of something that comes up quite a lot. Like people try all these kind of fad diets and they've been doing this for years and they think that nothing works, but they're just going the wrong route. You just need to find something that's going to work for you and stick with it. You'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's been the total weight loss, mate, like from your heaviest to now?
So it's about 5 stone. And I say about because I stopped weighing myself at a certain point because I was too embarrassed. I didn't want to keep kind of weighing myself. So it's about 5 stone, 65, 70 pounds from 2014. Right, and it's mostly kind of stayed off. Obviously, I've kind of went up and down a wee bit, but never to the extreme of where I was at. Yeah. But I stayed off it from 2014. So what? Nearly 10. Is that nearly 10 years?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it's 2023. Man, time flies.
It's
So
crazy, isn't it?
you're saying it's like it's stayed off since then. I want to know
Mhm.
why it stayed off. Like not how, but
How
what's the reason?
do you know what? I think because of obviously the type of job I'm in, like you can't be like massive and get clients. I think there's a fine line between being
Mhm.
obviously pure shredded and just carrying a wee bit of excess. There's obviously a fine line, but you can't be huge.
Yeah.
I don't think anyway. I know there's a new kind of there's a different side of fitness and health and all this kind of stuff going on, but I don't think you can be like massive and coach people to get in shape. So that's one of them. I don't want to be what's
A
the word?
fraud.
I don't want to be a
Fraud.
fraud. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
hypocrite. I want to be going down that route. So that's probably one of them, but mostly I just don't want to feel the way I did at that stage. I don't want
Yeah.
to like wear a t-shirt and feel embarrassed if my tits are hanging out, or not be able to fit into a pair of jeans or whatever. Like I don't want to feel those kind of wee everyday life things that
Mhm.
you just notice that most people wouldn't really like. You might not notice if you were to sit down on the seat and your belly kind of. You probably will if you've been at that stage actually at some point, and your belly hangs over a wee bit. It's just wee kind of everyday things like that that just kind of keeps you going.
Yeah. And the reason that I asked that, why not how, I think that's important for anybody who's either listening or watching. Sometimes there's too much emphasis on the how, and they're not clear enough on the why. And just for doing this job, like coaching people to lose weight, build muscle, in some form of shape or form, like transform their physical condition. Um, the how's important, but we need to get clear on the why and what your emotional leverage is for change. And
Mm,
until you're really clear on why you should bother making changes, I think most people just don't. But
aye.
that's the reason. That's something that we do a lot of work on in the beginning with all my clients. Um, it's simply just like getting clear on the deeper benefits, who else benefits, etc. For a lot of the guys, it's for being a better role model for their kids.
Uh-huh.
It's being able to go and do active stuff with them without feeling unfit
Mhm.
or like their fitness is holding them back. It's being able to take their kids to the beach on holiday or to the swimming pools without feeling embarrassed or like their kids have got a fat dad and stuff. A lot
Mhm.
of people don't talk about these things, but that's what a lot of them have got up here, and they just need to even write a list of these things down and in your pocket and fucking read it every morning.
Mhm.
And that's going to keep your goals like in the forefront of your mind. I think that's mega important. And that it's the same for me. Like I said, it's why I do hard things when I can't be bothered. When I show up and go and work out in my freezing cold garage gym in the dark winter rainy nights and stuff. When I just want to sit and watch Netflix after work and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my clients, like because whenever I was making a lot of my initial changes, it was for my children. But
Mhm.
because I just wanted to set better examples for them as well. But these days, because I'm so big into this coaching stuff now, it's like I'm thinking about my clients and like I need to be setting the standards and setting examples, which is
Mhm.
super powerful. And anybody can get clear on what their why is. So all this weight loss, Peter, what's the big benefits that this has had on your life? Like how has your day to day living and the quality of your life changed?
Do you know? I think it's kind of similar to what I just said there. It's the wee kind of everyday things in life. I wouldn't say there's a massive thing. I think it's just those little things that kind of just stab you every now and again if you don't pay attention. Like for example, if you're getting out, if you're going out at the weekend or whatever, you're going on a date with your missus or whatever, and you need to wear something nice, something that's a wee bit, maybe a bit tighter fitting, maybe something you don't wear that often. It like you don't want to feel like shit in it. You don't want to feel like your 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 sides are overhanging in your jeans and blah blah blah. It's those little things that just make it kind of worth it, rather than like turning into this big fitness enthusiast. It's more the confidence stuff that I would say comes with it. And to be fair, I wouldn't say I'm like the most confident person in the world. And to be actually, even this, like doing a video like this, back then I would never have dreamed of doing like a live video in front of however many people's going to end up watching this, or like getting on my videos I do all the time, like on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Like back in the day, I would have never dreamed of putting my face out there or even being confident enough to kind of talk in front of people.
So there's there's benefits there, right? So
Aye, just those
that's that in an indirect way that's going to lead to more financial income, right?
Aye.
Especially and I've had so many clients that will tell me, I make more money now, because they're up earlier, with their energy's better, they feel more confident, they're fitter, they're up earlier in the day, they're out, they're doing better work, they're more productive. They're also more present around the family, better moods, and they're making more money as a kind of like a byproduct of this stuff. So obviously, I mean, that's what's clearly going to happen with you, because if you're not putting yourself out there, nobody's paying mine and your bills. Do you know what I mean? Except for us just putting ourselves out there, and clients eventually come to us that way. So it has a lot of impact.
Definitely that side of things as well, like productivity wise as well. Like when I was maybe, again, I don't even know how, when I was at my heaviest, there's no way I was getting up early in the morning and going for a run or going for a walk or even thinking about having something remotely healthy for breakfast. I was just kind of thinking, right, I'm not moving, I'll just stay in bed or whatever. I'm just going to be lazy today. I'll have a big fry up or whatever. Like I wasn't thinking down the line of like, can I get up and go type attitude? Whereas now I'm an early bird. Like I'm always up early. I train very early with Paul. Even when I'm not training early with Paul, I'll still get up quite early and just get some work done, or just go for a walk or whatever. So it's those kind of little things that you maybe wouldn't notice right away. Like it just kind of builds into your kind of life. But that's definitely what I would go with.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest mistakes that, if you're looking back to the times where you were struggling to like get traction with the weight loss, get consistency with your behavioural changes and stuff? What are some of the big silly things that you did that, if you could rewrite it all, that you would change and not do again?
Do you know, I think we actually mentioned this at the start. It was doing like far too much and trying to kind of go all in, just go completely balls to the wall and just throw everything at it. Because that always led to me just burning myself out. I'd be knackered because I was training too much. I wasn't eating enough, so I wasn't like eating to fuel my body. I was just kind of eating as little as possible, cutting out. Obviously, we want to cut out all the rubbish as much as possible, within reason. But I was just going like super strict. Like nothing of any processed foods were coming in at all. Absolutely zero, and I just couldn't stick to it. Like I know you're quite. I don't know what the term to use. You're not really into like calorie counting or whatever, and kind of being a bit more flexible. Obviously, you are flexible sometimes, but I would go super strict where there was just not an ounce of any kind of quote unquote bad foods coming in at all. But that would just always lead to me just pigging out on that a few days later or a week later or whatever.
Yeah.
So it just had a negative impact because I was then eating far too much of it. I was then overeating all of that stuff because I was restricting so much. So the biggest kind of change was, right, let's maybe dial things back a wee bit. We don't need to be as restrictive. We don't need to be as clean. We can still have some pasta. We can still have some crisps if we want a wee packet of crisps or whatever. We can still be a bit flexible, but within reason. We have to kind of moderate it. It can't just be a free for all. So that was probably the biggest thing, was trying not to be too strict on myself, because I knew my personality type, I would just end up overeating everything in sight a few days later. That was probably the biggest kind of mistake.
Yeah, I know what that feels like, because I did a lot of similar things. Thinking back to the time where I was really into CrossFit for a few years, and there was a popular diet within the kind of CrossFit communities back then called the paleo. You've heard of the paleo diet? But that was quite most people probably heard of the paleo diet.
I would say paleo, but a bit more extreme, like just absolutely zero kind of carbs or anything like that. It was just.
I tried the paleo diet multiple times. And it's like I would last, a couple of weeks, and then this one time, I tried something even more kind of like hard. It was more of an elimination diet. It's called the Whole30. But I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was doing it because I was looking to shred fat, build muscle, and just look better aesthetically. And it's not. I don't like having like poking digs at these templates and diets, because I think a lot of them, done for the right reasons, for example, an elimination diet, there's good reason to be doing that in relation to figuring out what if you're intolerant to any foods or something like that, which I've actually done successfully. Those things now, I can do all that stuff now, and stick to them to a T, because I've spent years actually slowly building up better habits. So now I have a good foundation. But back then, no, I was coming from a place of eating chocolate muffins for breakfast, not having no accountability to how much coffee I was drinking, eating KFC for lunch, and then going to the chippy for dinner like every day or every other day, and just living like that. So there was no conscious intent behind any of my meals whatsoever, and I didn't have a lot of cooking skills because I've been in the military for so long, and everything was done for me. So the last time I'd done any real cooking was like home economics class in school. So sticking to any form of diet was really difficult, and ultimately I would always fail as well to stick to those strict guidelines. And it's not just like, oh, that didn't work out for me. It's then the emotional and confidence and self-belief damage that does for you as well, because you start to believe that you're the problem, and it's a failure. I can't stick to these things. I'll never be able to get in shape if I can't bring myself to do that. But you remember how hard it was, so you put it off, and you put it off, and you put it off. But the reality is, you were doing dumb shit. you were doing dumb shit. It wasn't the right route. And if you think big picture, changes don't have to be hard and fast. They can be very small, secretive, marginal gains over time all add up. And if you do it the right way, you can build habits that stick, that just become part of what you do, and don't take like mega discipline and willpower to. And that obviously pays off with your health and your body, for sure.
Do you know what? I think that is the issue. It's not that those diets are like really bad or whatever. My cats came in again. It's not that those diets are like terribly bad for all those kind of other reasons. It's just that people get hold of them that are just doing it to lose weight, and they're just not going to be able to stick to it. Oh, here we go.
Just to tell you what, the cat's lucky my Hazel isn't in the room. She goes nuts at the sight of cats.
Sorry, as I was saying, I think it's the wrong people get hold of those kind of diets and ideas, and they just don't have the habits, the willpower, discipline, because you obviously do need those to some degree, especially when you first get started, and they just don't have that stuff in place before they start these fads. Like I would say they're fads for weight loss especially, and they're just not going to work for those people with that kind of personality that's kind of all in, all or nothing type of people.
Absolutely.
Like I was. And I actually think you've used this a bunch of times, like talking about the kind of dimmer switch rather than being on off.
1 to 10 dial that I like to use.
Absolutely huge. I think that's a huge like shift in mindset that I had. This obviously had a big impact.
Can you give me an example of like
Yeah.
what that might look like in practice for you?
So, for example, I would say probably the most extreme example I can think of is when I was trying to lose weight for an MMA fight. This was before 2014. This was maybe 2010, maybe. I was trying to lose weight and get down to like 70 kilos or whatever. And I must have been about 90 at the time. And I had to lose obviously a shitload of weight. And I think it was like eight to 10 weeks or something daft. And I'd literally just cut everything out. I was only eating tins of tuna, boiled eggs, like chicken and protein shakes. That's pretty much all I was eating. So I went all in. I was training 2-3 times a day, miserable. But to be fair, see at the time, I was super motivated for that goal. So it never really fazed me at the time, like when I was doing it. It was obviously hard, but I had it wasn't like I'm trying to lose weight to look better or anything like that. It was just to get to that fight weight so I could fight. So I went through that. I went all in, gave it everything I could. But as soon as that fight was over, I just went whoop, straight off the wagon, eating everything, ballooned up. I was huge. With probably within a week or two, I'd gained about a stone at least. I just started piling it all back on because I never had that mentality of right, we can go a wee bit harder here. Maybe we'll dial things back here. It was either you're on or you're off. And for me, my personality, that just doesn't work.
Yeah, and you know, part of the reason that happens as well, it's like so when you take away processed foods that are extremely salty, foods that are extremely or extremely sugary. Normally, you don't get salty and sugary in the same food. Like that would be weird. But like these highlight the reward chemicals in the brain, and you know the more sugar, etc. The more extreme. So when you deprive yourself for that for so long, and the sweetest thing I tell you what, if you do that for a few weeks to a couple of months, even carrots start to taste sweet. It's like, you know, your sweetness levels become a bit more natural, and the sweetest things you're eating maybe fruits, those kind of things, and then it's like once your brain gets a taste of like say ice cream again, oh man, it's just like you can't fucking stop. Yeah. So I mean, because it was last year, I did the anti-candida diet. And that's for medical reasons, for like a lot of the autoimmune condition and the gut problems that I was having, to try to let the gut heal and get rid of the candida in the gut. So I did that for 6 months, and not only was that like no processed foods whatsoever, but there was also like a lot of healthy foods, a lot of vegetables and fruits and stuff that couldn't be eaten either. So it was a very small pool of foods. But see, once I was used to it, because you know, I work from home. It's just you know, I do my own thing. I don't go out drinking. There was little temptation psychologically. Like I prepared myself for it. I'm like, right, okay, I'm getting into a self-imposed lockdown, like for a while. I was successful with it, right? So I did it for 6 months. I got rid of candida. I improved. I achieved the goal. I made a lot of progress, and then we went to Greece on holiday. Well, like. I was eating banana splits ice cream for breakfast and all sorts. Like it was so. Once you pop, do you know what I mean? Like,
well, that was it.
Ice cream in Greece.
That was it exactly. As soon as I never had to, like, I didn't have to be a certain weight for anything at that point. I wasn't fighting again. There was nothing coming up in the near future, so I just thought, well,
yeah. And
may as well.
I think like once. Like we're all human, like we all slip off our plans, our diets, and those kind of things. Like, and one of the most important things for success is not being mega disciplined and staying motivated all the time and like just becoming Dwayne the Rock Johnson, where you're doing 4 a.m. workouts and you know just smashing it all the time. There's a very big misconception about what it takes to get in shape. It's not that. It's being more empathetic with yourself screwing up and not sticking to a plan and just mentally wiping the slate clean. Okay, fuck, yesterday was awful. Right off the wagon, or the weekend was a mess. Out drinking. Okay, let's just get back to it now. Let's not wait till Monday next week when it's like Wednesday and there's like multiple days in between where I can just bring myself back in line with my goal. Hey, I had a good time the past few days, pigging out. I'm just getting back to it. And just no compensating, no under eating to try and make up for it, no over exercising to make up for missed workouts by doing double workouts in a day and stuff. Just no, I'm just getting back to normal, like to my better plan, my better habits. And I think, and you do that like as many times as you need to. Like literally as many times as you need to. And what you find is you do that less and less and less with enough practice, and not just do you do it less, but the length of time that you're off the wagon thinking, oh fuck it, I'll just eat whatever I want. That gets smaller. That goes from months and it turns into days. Do you know what I mean? And that's a key difference. That's a key difference. So over the course of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, like you're practicing better habits and you're so much more consistent to whatever level that dial 1 to 10. And that's where the transformation comes from. Do you know what I mean?
I would say so.
Do you find that, Peter?
Definitely. And I think another thing is your bad days aren't as bad as what they used to be either.
Totally. You still have them, but there's levels to there's levels to our bad habits.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great point.
And that can make a huge difference as well, because a lot of times sometimes it's not even that bad. You're just overthinking it. You just need to get back to it the next day, or what is it? James Clear's thingy, like never miss more than 1 day or something like that, or don't miss 2 days in a row. I can't remember what it is, but basically it's trying not to do whatever kind of habit you're building. Try not to miss it 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Just don't miss it 2 days in a row, and you'll be fine. You'll still be you'll still be effectively building that habit, whatever it is, whether it's drinking 2 litres of water every day, or having 3 protein-based meals every day, or going for a walk every day. Just don't miss 2 days in a row and you'll be fine. And if you do miss a day, just get back on it the next day.
But even if you do miss 2 days, that doesn't mean you just quit, get back on it the third day.
Well, that is the thing that stops people, is just that their own mindset and thinking they've fucked it all and there's no point. Whereas time is going to pass anyway, so you may as well just get back to it. You're just going to make things worse if you just stop in your tracks, basically.
Yeah, sure, mate. So, what are some of the key behaviour changes? So from like past Peter, who was overweight and yo-yo dieting and stuff, to the Peter who is now healthier, leaner, fitter, stronger, and also helping other people do the same thing. What are some of the key behaviour changes there?
I would say always just kind of having, more so looking at what you're doing on average compared to what you're doing perfectly for a week or two. So, for example, the old me would be, right, I need to train 5-6 times a week for this to be a good week, but it wouldn't last. It'd maybe last a week or two, I'd fall off track, and then I'd be off the wagon for 2 months or whatever. Whereas now, I just make sure I kind of have a minimum standard. I'm going to train at least 3 times a week. And as long as I tick those boxes, I can still keep decent shape. I might not be making the most progress towards my overall goals, but at least I'm still ticking that box. At least I'm still maintaining, and I'm not going backwards. So I think looking at what you do on average rather than what you're doing perfectly.
What you can do at your best for like 3 days.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of similar to that whole going all in or all in or all off, all or nothing, that type of mindset. I think it's just more looking at what can you do consistently, what can you do on average, because that's going to see you go much further rather than kind of getting a quick result and then kind of falling off track. So I think looking at your average stuff, whatever that is, whether it's how many times a week you're in the gym, whether it's how many healthy meals in the week you have, whether it's how many steps every day you do or how many bouts of cardio you do. Just make sure your average is a kind of minimum standard that you can sustain. I wouldn't say there's a perfect number because it might look different for me.
It's just trying to improve your individual average behaviors in relation to exercise and food.
Mm-hmm.
What about the people that you spend time with and the activities that you do? Has there been a big difference there? Because we know how much of an impact and influence that has on our behaviors, which then either aligns us with our goals or takes us away from them. So has there been big changes there for you?
I don't know how much of an influence, but I definitely don't go, like, my weekends are completely different now. Like, I used to be out boozing every weekend, takeaways every weekend, just piles and piles of shit every weekend. And then that would carry on Monday and Tuesday because I'd just be feeling like shit, be hungover, not motivated to get up and do anything. Like, so I would say in that respect, my weekends has been a huge change. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I'll still go out the odd time, but that's probably the biggest change is I'm not going out boozing every weekend because there's no way I'd keep in any kind of shape if I was doing that every weekend. I don't think.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, I think that's be a big one for me also.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the military for 11 years, obviously your brother Paul will know all about that because we were in the same battalion. Like, alcohol is cultural. It's a lot of things are built and evolved around a good drink. So for us, that was normal, but that was a behaviour that was also keeping me feeling self-conscious, unhappy, setting horrible examples to my kids. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to change my weekend drinking behaviours, because I was always drunk, or I was hungover, and then it fed into the week, and I was tired a lot, crabby, moody, stressed out, being on because I was being unproductive with my business work, and that was creating a lot of stress as well.
That's one of the things for me.
And I remember, it wasn't just for me. The booze wasn't just getting in better shape. I would say just the examples I was setting and how it was impacting my productivity in business was a big mover for me to start changing that. But my son even talks about it, like, to this day. He has a vague memory of coming downstairs in my mum's house once, because obviously Nana used to watch the kids. Dad's always on a night out or hungover. And I was lying sparkled on the living room floor. I came in at 4 a.m. or something. I was just lying flat, facing the floor. And he was always talking about it. He was only a young kid at the time. And I'm like, is that the examples I want to be setting?
Yeah.
It's fucking not like it. So that was quite powerful for me. But going back to, like, how our environment influences those drinking behaviours. So a lot of the guys I grew up with, like, they're still we're in the mid-30s, approaching 40s and stuff, and they're still in the party mode, like, at the weekends, even though they've got kids and stuff. And
I've had the same.
I've had to stop, spending as much time with them, and that doesn't mean to say, like, I dislike them. Like, still, like, a couple of some are still my best friends. I consider, well, we just spend less time together, and we still catch up. Maybe it's for a meal, lunch, coffee, something like that. But I see other people more often. In fact, a lot of my coaching clients have become good friends, and we plan to do weekends hiking mountains, and we made a little group. We did Kilimanjaro and stuff together. So I think, like, just aligning the people that I'm spending time with more so, like, with things that can align with the things that I really want from life. And that's had so much more influence than probably the knowledge that I've gained. Do you know what I mean? And knowing I need to eat a certain amount of protein, I need to do certain, exercises like bench press for my pecs, and so, like, but what actually influences our behaviours and raises our standards is, I think, largely the circles and the environments that we keep ourselves in.
I would say so. To be fair, I don't really I don't really have like a group of people that are into fitness and stuff. Kind of like me. I would say the person I spend the most time with is Paul, and we're quite
Which there you
similar.
go.
We train 3 times a week. Same business goals. Obviously, we're trying to build a business, so we are quite similar in that. Obviously, kind of passes on to each other. Like, for example, Paul might be having a bit of a shitty time. He might be struggling a wee bit or whatever, and then I can be there for him, and I can say, right, we need to do this. We need to blah blah blah. We can perk you up a wee bit, and then vice versa. If I'm maybe having a wee bit of a struggle, Paul's there to help me. So that was probably the biggest kind of impact if we're talking close people. I would say Paul is definitely a huge influence.
Yeah, which I think says a lot for like how important having that influence is,
Mm-hmm.
and the difference it can make. Why did you become a personal trainer? What made you want to get into that?
I don't. Do you know what? I think it's because I originally started helping Paul. Like as I said, I was always kind of into fitness and sports and stuff. But I think I actually started helping Paul with his marketing, his social media and stuff like that. We obviously did the MMIC stuff, the Paul Mott stuff, the emails and all that kind of thing. I just kind of get into that, and then it was just a kind of natural progression. I thought, well, I may as well join, or I may as well get qualified and just try and do the same thing. It's going to work out better if there's two of us doing this. And it was honestly just a kind of natural progression. I was seeing Paul getting results with people, and I thought, oh, I could probably do that as well. Let me getting in this action. So that's probably the honest truth. Is it was just a natural progression from me helping Paul with his social media, his marketing, and just me actually getting qualified and then doing it.
Which actually leads well from the topic we were just talking about in terms of influence. So not only has Paul influenced you to become in your profession to help other people, but also like improve and better your own life and stuff. So I think that's a great take home. If like anyone who's listening, watching this, like how can you get yourself involved somehow with other people that more aligned with the lifestyle, the goals, and the things that you really want, because that's probably more powerful than you find the knowledge along the way. Do you know what I mean? Well, we live in this age of information. It's all at the fingertips, but it causes more confusion and lack of action, I think, than anything else.
Well, that actually reminds me. So when obviously as I said, I was working in Lido, and I decided I was going to get qualified. I get rejected from college. As I was doing my personal trainer course, Paul was actually PTing in a gym in the town, and there was a job that came up as like a maintenance person, like a cleaner type of person. It was just part-time, so it was less than what I was doing. But I thought, that's going to get me a wee foot in the door. I'm going to be around personal trainers. I'm going to see Paul in action. I'm going to see how this works. So I did that. I went and got a job as a cleaner in a gym, stopped working in Lido, and then we started the boot camps after that. So that was a kind of got in the right environment, obviously got qualified and learned all the kind of the need to know stuff, and then it just kind of naturally progressed from there.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up, Peter, with a final question. What are some of the I've probably covered it, to be honest, like the best like kind of tips and advices that anyone who wants to change sustainably with their health, their weight, their fitness. What's a few things that you would advise them to do off of the back of this now?
Right now, I think definitely to sit down and write out some goals and get deep on why you're doing it. Like, I don't think just to lose weight and get fit is enough. I think you need to dig a wee bit. It's kind of like we said earlier, like why are you actually doing it? And then just the 5 whys or whatever that's called. Just keep asking why.
I'm going to add to that quickly. Also, when you're writing that down, write down what happens if you don't do it.
Aye, that's massive. That's probably that's another like kind of client questionnaire what will happen if you don't do this? Because it kind of gets you thinking, right? Well, I don't actually want to feel that way if I don't achieve this, because I'm going to feel like a failure again. I'm going to feel like I haven't achieved this. It's a waste of time, or blah blah blah.
Yeah,
So
and,
get clear on
and also where am I going to be in another year if I
mhm.
don't? That's got to be important.
Get clear on your goals is probably the first thing, and then try and as hard as it is, try and think a bit more long term. Like the quick wins, the quick fixes are just not going to last. They'll give you a wee buzz, they'll give you a wee bit of boost in motivation, but they're so hard to stick to. The extreme methods, the really restrictive methods, they're so hard to stick to. So you're better off just finding something a bit more sustainable, because I say this all the time actually. The length of time that you spend doing quick fixes actually equates to probably more time if you just did a sustainable approach and just did it the proper way. You'd probably save time, because people go through it for years, like I did, years and years of trying different diets and just making all those mistakes. Whereas if you just commit to maybe 6 months, 12 months of doing it the right way and doing it the proper way, you'll get there a lot faster, and then you'll be able to maintain it much easier anyway. So
Yeah.
avoiding quick fixes is probably one of the biggest things, because I just did that so much.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. So we're going to finish up there. Where can people find you if they want to follow your stuff?
Probably best to find me on Instagram, which is just Peter.
You're going to have to spell out your second name now.
I'm gonna. Can I change my name on here?
Peter Coca-Cola.
Peter Kolaowicz. Just type Peter PK Fitness, and I should come up.
Peter PK Fitness.
Peter
Right.
PK Fitness will come up on Instagram. I don't have a Facebook page anymore. Paul's Facebook page is kind of the primary one on Facebook, but I don't actually use that.
Superb. Peter, thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate it. It's been an inspirational story and some really good insights. We'll maybe get you back on for a part 2 at some point. If you're listening, watching, do me a favor, whatever you are tuning into this, if it's on YouTube, please hit the like button, because that helps that the channel gets seen. Subscribe to the channel, because we've got more of this stuff coming on a weekly basis. And if you're on Facebook following along, then if you're not already, please follow the page. And if you need any help with your health or fitness and you're feeling stuck, feel free to reach out and get in touch. Don't stay there. Okay, doc, thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate your time. Hope you got something valuable from this. Have a good one. Adios.
Yeah, cheese.